Hi everyone, my name is Nastia Bruno, and today, beside creating a look, I will scream, hit, tear, and even end up burning my dress. And all of this so that it doesn't act up and look magical. This is a new story about how I made a glass dress. The last video about the sand dress became the most successful on the channel, and I realized that you guys don't come here to watch the dresses, you come to watch me suffer. So that means I'm going to make another super complicated dress. And for these crazy ideas, we will once again look at the Met Gala. Beside the sand dress, this year a glass dress of the beautiful Elle Fanning made a splash. And by the way, it's also by Balmain. Poor actresses, they really suffered. Just look at her shoulders, it's all red. The rough strap really rubbed her arm. Looks like Balmain is a total sadist. Every dress is a pure torture. Is exactly what we need. Actually, when you find out the concept and the idea that the designer had in mind, you want to replicate the dress even more. Remember how we used to watch Disney cartoons after school and dream about marrying a prince? Well, this magical dress is inspired by Cinderella. That moment when the birds suit the dress, they are holding it as a glass version, and it's glass according to the actress herself, who wanted it to look like a glass or ice. I can already predict that someone will type in the comments that this isn't the first glass dress. And indeed, 5 years ago, Nina Dobrev showed this idea at the Met Gala too. However, her dress was 3D printed. Not soon like Balmain's, but still, I'm closer to a symmetrist than an engineer. So, we will be replicating Elle Fanning's glass dress. As many of you know, glass is made of sand, and we already have a sand dress. Unfortunately, just throwing it in the oven won't work. As fashion magazine write, the original dress was made of organza with 4 layers of epoxy resin poured on top. Sounds not too difficult, but do I want to deal with epoxy? No. It's temperamental, it's toxic, it requires experience I don't have, so I'm going to take an alternative route. Or rather, I'll be rolling and stumbling. We bought the most ordinary plastic wrap, and I decided to try the quickest but the most half-assed option. What if it works and looks cool? A dress made of plastic? Watch! This idea wasn't mine, it was my husband's. He looked at the dress of Elle Fanning and said, "This is just a bag." I said, "What bag? It's fabric, and it's covered in epoxy, and it has the glass effect. We don't have that effect." He said, "Come on, let's try plastic." I said, "No." He said, "Come on." I said, "No." And so I agreed to do it and to prove him wrong. And also it crinkles. And if you go to an event, that's not cool at all. It will catch everyone's attention. And the main problem is that I can't use plastic on the dress because I don't know how to attach it. I can't steam it because it's plastic. It will just and disappear. And I will still have to cover it in epoxy resin to fix it all, because right now it's all held with pins. The idea itself doesn't look bad, but the execution sucks. It didn't turn out as epic as I thought. The second option is to use this kind of plastic, but don't think it's murky, you just need to peel off all the film, and it will be crystal clear. My idea is to make something like this from the plastic. Yeah, I've watched a ton of videos and I want to repeat it. They heat the plastic up super hot and stretch it so that it forms pleats. And that's exactly what we need, because we will need a lot. I mean pleats, a lot of them, because the dress literally consists from them. But this will be super transparent and I will have to stick it to the dress. And I'm just so happy to have a golden torso from my previous video, where I made the dress from sand. Make sure to watch that video. Well, it's beautiful, of course. So now I'm going to heat up really hot and form pleats from it. Whether it works or not, that's a good question. Well, I can say that nothing worked. The pleats didn't form and it turned into complete crap. Maybe no matter how much I resist and how much I don't want to, I will have to work with epoxy. After all, I think the brand that made the dress is not stupid. They tried a lot of things, and with their budget, they choose the best option. And the best option is fabric plus resin. Oh, this is crap, literally. Ugh. What did you think? I gave up that easily? No, of course not. I didn't just throw away this idea so half-assed. I experimented with thick plastic and a powerful hairdryer. And it worked. Well, it kind of worked. I achieved this result, and although it's not suitable for a glass dress, I decided to pay off my long-held idea and make another dress with it. But that's a different story. Still, we'll have to take the difficult path. Let's take a look at what the dress actually consists of. It consists of these cool, incredible birds that look like they are made of glass. Then we have this solid base starting here and ending at the hip, with the skirt flowing into a train. And looking at these birds, I could get really into it for the video. Spent several months studying and learning glass blowing, but that would be too much for the video. So I decided to go easy route and order them. The responsible part is sewing the dress. For this video, I ordered a whole roll of organza. Oh. And it cost $100 American. So there is a little nonsense. I'm looking at this fabric and it's totally opaque, even in one layer. Well, like this. And considering that there will be pleats, I will fold several times. It might end up looking very dense. Maybe if I soak it with epoxy, it will become more transparent. Or maybe it won't. So I will test 3 pieces. One will be tulle, another organza, and the third with corset knotting. Then I will decide which fabric to use for the dress. Epoxy resin is such a nerdy thing that I even had to use jewelry scales. You mess up by few grams and it's all over. I had to sacrifice a makeup brush. You have to make such a sacrifice for the result. So let's decide which fabric I will use. Here is my tulle. Yeah, it almost disappeared when we poured epoxy on top. It just vanished, like this. The second piece is organza. The problem is it's very dense. And secondly, it remembers its shape really well. And the last piece I have is corset netting. It doesn't work because it's super relief. And I will have to pour epoxy over it a bunch of times. So my favorite so far is tulle. Take the tulle. I'm telling you to take the tulle. There is also a problem of these bubbles. See, they are in different sizes, from small to big. There are 2 ways to get rid of these bubbles. The first is flame and the second is this special corrector. As for the flame, I'm scared that the whole dress will just disappear into flame. And with the corrector, it may not arrive on time. I don't know which is the worst. I think I would rather walk around with the bubbles. This is just a pre-excuse in case I end up with crap. And still, I didn't choose the tulle, which later I regretted many times. Well, at the moment, I thought the dress would be too transparent with it, and I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to get the volume and the depth effect. Plus, greediness didn't allow me to leave the whole roll of tulle alone. Our dress is ready. Kind of, it's still open on the back, so I won't turn around. It fits well and it looks pretty decent, and it even looks like the original. And I should be happy about this, but I'm worried. First of all, the dress is not transparent at all. I hope the epoxy will make it more transparent. And I think chiffon would have been better here. First, it's more transparent and it's more pliable. It doesn't memorize the shape so much. And the pleats wouldn't stand like this. But I spent 5 whole hours gluing each pleat separately by hand because they looked like a washboard, all going in different directions. And naturally, if we had poured the epoxy on them, they would have been stuck out, and I definitely don't need that. I hoped if the epoxy cracks, it will stay on the fabric, but here is the thing. it just broke. So I have to be very careful while doing this. By the way, you think that I just thought again? I think too late. Anyway, I thought if I put epoxy on top, I hope I will be able to turn the dress around and get into it. Because if it hardens, I will not fit. Oh my god, I don't think I'm gonna be fit. And looking at her dress, I see that one bird is attached to a long spike, which comes from the strap. And I realized it needed to be sewn while making the dress, because I'm looking at my strap and all of this needs to be unstitched. So I came up with a way to work this out. I will just take some fabric, make a spike like this, and attach it here. I will pour epoxy all over it, and epoxy will harden and it will hold everything. I will be going to make the spike out of tulle because it's super transparent and I think it will be the perfect option. I will pour epoxy over it and won't be noticeable. We have hummingbirds and they have something like crows, ravens. Well, look at this little one, and in the cartoon they were like those little birds, neat and tidy. We moved outside because I didn't want to do this at home, but it's super uncomfortable. I will not try it. I've prepared the mannequin and now I need to coat my mannequin with wax separators so the dress doesn't stick when all the epoxy hardens. And when I put epoxy on it, some little flies and bugs are definitely going to land on it. So I made some kind of aquarium to cover everything. Like this, and everything's covered. Those little creatures are not gonna get my dress. Of course, everything didn't go as smoothly as I wanted. It felt like the black streak of this project began. Now it seems funny. But at the time, every little thing irritated me. When you're tired, it's hot, you're rushing and making mistakes like I almost ruined the dress. I pinned the top on the mannequin incorrectly and it got on dent. I didn't notice it until after I applied the resin. So I had to get dirty and smooth everything out. You can't believe how hard it is to remove this thing from your hands. But the most important thing is I noticed the mistake before the first layer dries. It's impossible to work in 35-degree heat. With the sun almost 40 degrees outside, working in a mask is impossible. I feel like I'm about to faint. The second thing that pissed me off was the birds. I thought everything through. I glued their beak to the spikes. The birds were secure, everything held up well, but one wrong move and the stand the mannequin was unshifted. I wanted to lose my mind, but I pulled myself together, and to prevent the spikes from hardening in a sad state, we quickly organized some repair work. I have 1 day left to finish the dress, and it was still far from ready. Every hour I ran outside applying epoxy because I'm an idiot. I took super runny epoxy, so it applied on every thin layer. And with this situation, to get a normal layer, I'd have to apply like 10 layers or something. I also needed to finish the skirt, and I needed to coat the top off with epoxy. So I'm not going to chat and drag this out. I'm going to work. With heat stroke from inhaling epoxy fumes, tired, I started working on the skirt, which wasn't cooperating at all from the start. I shouldn't have overcomplicated it and just made a regular skirt. I was rushing and it was already nighttime and the skirt hadn't even got 1 layer of epoxy. But first I had to attach it under the glass corset. I really regret it, not attaching the skirt right away. What a nightmare. Trying to pin the hard resin in a half dog and I pricked all my fingers. But the deed is done. Now I just need to apply the final layer. I had no energy left. Oh my god, I finally finished it! Now I'm going to sleep because I'm so tired and we'll see what happens tomorrow. It's not a glass dress, it's a dress made of flies. Now I've got the bugs here and they are in the dress forever. I'm going to have to take all of these insects out and cover everything again to keep the shine. I will probably use my manicure kit. That's it. The resin part is done. They are even on the spike. Little bastards. Instead of butterflies, a butterfly could have stuck. No, I don't want butterflies to die. They're just prettier than flies. Now, I'm going to take the dress off. I hope it doesn't crack, doesn't break, and then I will try it on. I have a big doubt if I will even fit into this dress, because the epoxy has hardened and turned into a stone. The epoxy stuck to the painter's tape. That wasn't a great idea to wrap around the waist. Surprisingly, the dress came off without any loses. I could finally breathe. I just need to finish the small details and smooth out the rough edges. My dress is ready. I want to say it turned out pretty good, despite this being my first time working with epoxy, but would I ever work with epoxy again? No. It's toxic, smelly, super runny, and stains everything. It's really hard to work with. I'm exhausted. Remember when I said that Elle Fanning's arm was rubbed raw? That's nothing. Both of my arms are rubbed raw, and even the parts you can't see. Yeah, that's how it is. Also, this dress is really hot. It feels like I'm standing in plastic bag in sauna. If you like what I'm doing, hit the like button. It helps me promote my videos. Plus, it helps me make more content. And now I'm going to sleep and finally get out of this dress.